Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 3, and it is going to be elaborating about variations, heredity, and cell divisions. Basically, the main idea of this chapter is that it will direct us like how certain characteristics are transmitted from parents to their offspring, how they attain resemble characteristics to that of the parents. So there is a cross we might have studied in the last lecture. So there is a cross which is called as chromosomes. That cross is transmitted from generation to generation. So in every cross, just like a sign of multiplication, they contain two, you can say that, chromatids on them. Every chromatid is extracted from parent, and then they are other cross or other side of the crosses of the individual's own. So that is how people resemble to their parents, and even DNA of an individual is matchable to their grandparents. So now we are going to start the next topic, the main crux or the main topic of this chapter. Okay, the topic over here is 3.1, that is heredity. Heredity is basically transmission of characteristics from parents to the offspring. This is called as heredity. How is it going to be done? Basically, during the reproduction, living organisms or living things pass their characteristics to their offspring. That one side of the cross of the chromosome is transmitted to the offspring, and other is of individual's own. That is responsible for the transmission of characteristics from one generation to the next generation. So during reproduction, when egg and zygote when egg and sperm match, they are going to fuse with each other. We have studied that 23 chromosomes are coming from the egg cells from the mother, 23 chromosomes are coming from father, and that is how transmission of characteristics would be made possible from parents to the offspring. Next is the condition. This is the reason that the babies look like their parents, because they are extracting characteristics from through via the heredity. That is how plants grown from the seeds, they resemble their parent plants. They look exactly like them, and when something is looking exactly like to their parents, they usually deal with the they come under both the categories of the sexual and asexual reproduction. So we are not going into that because it is not needed here right now. We'll see it later on. The heredity is basically the transmission of characteristics from parents to the offspring. This process is called as heredity. This is actually the theory, the process with which the transmission of characteristics from parents to the offspring could take place. Characteristics such as eye color, the skin color, usually those who are blacks generally consider that African children will be black because of heredity. So is in the like Asia. Free or attached earlobe, that is another characteristics. It could be heredity. Generally considered that those parents whose earlobes are attached to their skin, their children would have the same characteristics. Intelligence height is also transmitted from the inheritity. But obviously conditions could vary. It's not necessary that if the parent color is black, it is, though there are 98% chances, but still they could be white. It's not necessary that if parents' earlobes are attached to their skin, that the children are going to have same earlobes. That could be unattached. They could be separated. So these are all the characteristics transmitted from parents to the offspring, and those characteristics which are transmitted via the process of heredity, they are called as the heredity characteristic. The next point would be life in all organisms. Every characteristics of the structure, function, and metabolism and behavior is programmed. It is controlled by the set of the structure, function, and metabolism and behavior is programmed. It is controlled by the set of instructions. There are specific codes who are going to guide or instruct body to what to do. These set of instructions are called as the biological codes, and they are going to define which characteristics should appear in an individual. Just like if somebody have detached earlobes, their genes are going to carry those same set of instructions, and that message is then transmitted. Now you have received your genes from the parents, and what genes are going to do, you have received your genes from your parent, they have received their genes from their parents. That is why DNA of an individual is matchable to even their grandparents, and if their grandparents would be living, the gene is always matchable because they carry a specific gene of instructions in them. So you and your individual share many genes of your parents and even of your grandparents. Inherited characteristics are determined by the genes. They are transmitted from one generation to the next generation through the genes. It is actually the gene who is present at the chromosomes, and that one cross of chromosomes that is going to be responsible to transfer that gene or those characteristics from one generation to the next generation. Heredity is the process why genes transmit characteristics from parents to the offspring. The word genetics is derived from the genes. Now, what the genetics? It is actually a subject. It is a science of heredity. Gene is the basic unit of biological information. It deals with the transformation of biological information in the form of gene from parents to the offspring. So we can say that the characteristics are transmitted from the one generation to the next generation, because gene is responsible for transmission of such traits of characteristics. The next point would be variation. But the variation is just like we know that the children possesses many features similar to those of their parents, but they also differ from their parents in certain respects or aspects. Why? Because obviously we cannot exactly look like our parents. That type of variation or differentiation is required. And why is it needed? Because we can't have the similar makeup. There should be some sort of differentiation between us. Similarly, brother and sister, although they carry the almost same genetic makeup, but variation is there. Even thumbprint of two people can't be matchable. Your thumbprint is different from the thumbprint of your father or your mother, as well as even the thumb impression of the two different thumbs of a same person might be differ. Okay, so any difference in the characteristics of the members of a species is called as variation. So when there is any different, like the difference in characteristics in the same member of species, just like you and I, since you are a male, your characteristics, your nature would be different. So the variation between the gene is called as variation. Even the genetic makeup of two female of same species is also different. So we can say that this is due to variation. Variations can help organisms to adapt or live successfully. Simply, we can say that they derive a makeup, like when COVID came, a huge number of individuals died. They quit their life. They lost their life. Why? Because variation didn't select them. They were too weak to live ahead. That is why they left the world. So we who survive, nature select us. We develop a variation. We learn. Our body automatically learn to live in that particular environment. That is why we live, and we have. So as soon as variation came along, we have a greater chances of survival. Even a century ago, lots of people were seen to die of malaria. Now, in a common world, like over here, when we are living, malaria is just considered a light thing to go with. So it is treatable, alhamdulillah. But at that time, what changes took place? The causing agent is same, but what we develop variation. We develop ability to live in those particular hard conditions. So that is how variation is.